with Ryan Ries. This is Live with Ryan Ries. Call now, 1-888-564-6173. Or post your questions using the hashtag #LiveRyanRies on his Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook.
What is happening? Again, it's Saturday night. We're in the studio right now at KWVE. And I want to thank you guys all for tuning in. It's already been I think this is our 4th week doing this, so I'm super pumped. It's going down, and I just actually got word that we're going to be going live in Miami. I got an email yesterday, so we're stoked to launch that through that radio station next week. So anyway, before we go on, tonight's going to be a very special night for me. I got a very special guest, very close person to my heart that's actually in the studio. But before we go on, I want to let you know about a couple of announcements. We got Shine cracking every single week, Thursday night at 7 p.m. at Calvary Chapel, Costa Mesa. And then we have it going on at Calvary Chapel Diamond Bar at 6 p.m. on Sunday night. So if you're around and you're trying to introduce someone that's never been to church to Jesus, I'm there just telling punk rock Jesus stories, just talking about Jesus cruising through with the disciples. They were a motley crew of dudes. You had Jesus was a carpenter. Then you had the Sons of Thunder because they obviously had an anger problem. Then you got the fishermen and all the other, you got the Mary and all the different people that were cruising with them. But just telling the stories about how Jesus went through and shook the place up. He discipled the disciples and he sent them out. And that night is to introduce people to Jesus, get them fired up, get them discipled, and then to send them out. Just to what happened with me when I was coming to Calvary Chapel, Costa Mesas on Monday nights with Garrett Beeler. He discipled me, trained me, and then I found a call in my life. And now here I am just hitting some high schools, doing some radio stuff, traveling around the world speaking and just doing a bunch of different things. But it's all about finding that call in our life. And the first thing we have to do is we have to find Jesus and let him reveal himself to us. And he's not looking for perfect people. I know there's some people that are listening right now. They're like, oh man, well, I just want to stop watching porn and then I'll go to church. Or I want to stop smoking weed or drinking or stop doing these certain things and then I'll go to church once I clean up. The problem is you're never going to get cleaned up because it's impossible, because it's that sin that's living inside of us and it's constantly dragging us down. God wants us literally to come as we are. He's not judging us. He didn't come to condemn the world. He actually came to save the world. So just come as you are. Bring your issues and let God just start removing those issues, cleaning you up, and then putting that call in your life, and then doing a rad work in your life. And if another thing I want to bring up too is we have the Whosoever's movement that actually I'm the co-founder of. We have this new sock campaign called Buy One, Share One. So you buy 2 socks, and it's a way for you to keep a pair and to actually go out and give a pair to someone on the street. Maybe you see this kid that you wouldn't normally necessarily talk to, but you could cruise up to him, offer him a free pair of socks, and maybe share about your faith. He's going to probably ask you, why are you giving me a free pair of socks? And that's an opportunity for you just to rap out with him and find that common ground and see just kind of introduce him to Jesus in a cool way. So that's a rad way to do it. Buy one, share one. It's an amazing thing to do. And then also, for some of you guys that don't know, we've been talking about the movie 365, the Whosoever's movie. It's about the inception of the movement. And we are actually doing a movie premiere for it. The date it comes out is actually May 5th, but we're doing a premiere for it on May 3rd at the Grove in Anaheim at 7 o'clock. So the doors open at 6:30 p.m., and we're only announcing it in certain places. So if you heard it here, get online at thewhosoevers.com and you can register online. We have limited capacity. We're almost maxed out, so I'd get on tonight, sign up, sign your friend up, bring some friends that don't know God. It's going to be a way to introduce them to Jesus too in a atmosphere that's not a church atmosphere. So if you just tuned in right now, you're listening to Live with Ryan Ries, and tonight I have a very special guest. It's Shane Ries. He's a producer. He's He's a producer. He's a composer. He's a musician. He's actually from Bass 9 Records and Film. And also, some of you guys are saying, Shane Ries? Yes, that is actually one of my brothers. It's my middle brother. What is cracking? How you doing, Shane?
I'm just messing. That was my little intro coming in.
Well, hey, we don't only have just you in here. We actually have your whole family.
We have some of our family.
Who do we have
We have
around here?
Melinda in here, which is my wife. We have Monet in here. We have Skylar, Ireland. They're behind there. Bjorny's in here. Bjorn, where is he at? I don't know. He's somewhere around here.
He's under the
Yeah,
table.
he's under the table. And we have Marion in here, which also works at Base 9. Peace out to her. Peace out. No.
Yep.
So we're all in here tonight. The Base 9 family joined in with the Whosoever family. We're all one family.
We are actually one familia. We
Yes.
are one familia. As we get into the story tonight, they're going to
Yes.
hear a little more about it. So you're our middle brother.
Yes, the middle one.
How was it?
The
Growing
middle
up
one.
in the middle.
Well, trying to stick up for Ryan, being the little brother, and then fighting the older brother, Raul. That was a very difficult situation, and trying to balance them both out. Like what?
Yes, it was completely crazy growing up.
Yes.
It was rad though. With our mom and dad, it's just crazy to see what they're doing nowadays, and just even what all the brothers are doing. What's crazy is we all found Jesus.
Yes.
'Cause we all walked. You kind of backslid for a minute, but Raul and we walked away for like 20-something years. But it's probably mom and dad are tripping now that we're all walking with God and doing stuff for Jesus. So that's pretty dope.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So let's get to the nitty gritty. What is Base 9 and how did it even start?
Base 9, this is a pretty interesting story. I'm going to make this as quick as possible because Ryan has a lot to do with Base 9, how it all started. Basically, Ryan was the guy that came up with the logo, Base 9. He was basically a total heathen into the rave scene. And let me just go back a hair second to set this up. But my background basically is a musician. I started playing the clubs at the Roxy, the Whiskey, all these different places with bands like the Untouchables, No Doubt. Before No Doubt, actually No Doubt was one of our openers, which was pretty crazy. That now they're one of the biggest bands, or I don't know how their status is now, but they came up.
I remember seeing Gwen coming to our house a lot.
Yes, yeah. Gwen came to our house many times, and basically, so I kind of had that background, and then basically I started moving forward when I got out of that whole music thing, and I said, well, I'm going to get into. I went with actually Ryan to Paris, and Amsterdam, and a couple other different European places shopping music because I started getting into underground electronic music, which Ryan basically introduced me to on a little tour we did from LA to New York, playing our music style that we were into at the time after the whole mod scene with Untouchables, No Doubt, all that stuff.
Right.
So long story short, we were on this trip. I got introduced to electronic music. Then we said, hey, Ryan.
What year was that?
Man, shoot, I don't know.
It had to be like 1992
or something. It was early.
Or maybe it was a little bit later.
A little bit later.
Because I got involved in the LA underground. That's before all the rave and all that stuff even existed.
Exactly. It was all underground, doing like barns and crazy
stuff.
locations.
But then we were on a trip, and I think we were in Israel.
Was it
Israel?
Israel?
We were in Israel, and I was listening to some Rodney Core tapes, and I let you listen to that.
Yeah.
And that kind of introduced
that
you
was
to
introduced
the
me. I
whole,
heard
the techno music back
exactly.
then. 1992, 93.
Exactly. And then, so anyway, Ryan was, showing me different stuff, the drum and bass stuff. If you don't know what drum and bass is, it's more like kind of like that. Or, you got the techno. So all that different kind of beats and everything. I started listening, getting influenced by it. Like, oh, this is dope. This is sick. Oh my gosh, I want to get into this. So we go to Europe. We try to shop a deal.
So what's kind of crazy though is like, because you grew up playing, more like you involved a lot of skin and punk and mod music and all that stuff. So now you've evolved it to electronic.
Yes.
So now here you are in the UK.
Yep. So then we go. We basically go to Europe.
I was with you.
I go with Ryan to Europe, which I'm going to get to that in 2 seconds. But we go there to shop a deal to try to start shopping all this underground music since I was getting into that stuff, and that's where all that stuff is the biggest and the greatest and whatever. So we're there shopping. Long story short, we're in Paris. We're coming home late one night, and basically we almost get jumped, which was a gnarly situation.
I would say we almost got killed.
Yes. We almost did. One guy had a bat that he ended up pulling out a half bat. And, it was bananas. But so long story short, there's a lot of history. I'm trying to just rake into this real quick and just make it fast. So we're there. We almost get jumped. We almost get killed. And I'm totally depressed there. I'm talking to Ryan because I'm a real depresso kind of guy. Like I'm a musician. I'm an artist. So I'm always looking at the downside of things instead of looking at the other side. Not looking to God, but looking to my situation as most artists do. That's why you have a lot of people committing suicide and doing all this crazy stuff because they're into themselves or they take drugs to numb the pain or drinking and just getting hammered drunk and walking the streets. Riders on the storm.
Exactly.
You know, all that stuff. Anyway, so long story short, where was that? I lost track.
You were in the UK, and we were talking about how Bass9 birth.
Oh, yeah. So
You had some music. You were shopping around at some record labels.
Right. So I'm totally depressed. I say, Ryan, what am I going to do? My life is over, da-da-da-da-da, whatever. You know, musicians always look at the worst part of life. I don't know what to go back to. My life. Anyway, so that's the way I felt. So then Ryan says, why don't you start your own company? And I'm like, yeah, how am I going to do it? What the heck? I mean, how is this all going to happen? I don't know nothing about nothing. All I know is I'm a musician. I can write music. I can do this. Ryan's like, no, I'll help you. We'll go back. We'll do it. So long story short, going quick, we came back. We started Bass9. Ryan created the logo. We did that. We threw a rave party. We started making underground records. We started selling to underground stores all through LA, eventually getting distribution in Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, the UK, shopping it all around, getting it everywhere. And then, go ahead, Ryan. Anytime you want to jump in.
What? And then you started. Wait, what part?
Okay. so.
I'm gonna let you keep
okay.
talking.
I'll keep going.
Anyway, hold on, really quick. For some of you guys who are just tuning in right now, you guys are probably going, "What is going on here on this station?" You're listening to Ryan Ries Live. I got Shane Ries, which is my brother. He's a producer, a musician, a filmmaker. We're talking about the movie 365 and how it all got started and how it's all going down.
Yes. Okay. So like I said, I'm trying to punch this in as fast as I can. So we get back. All of a sudden, we're right in the middle of this whole thing, right? Creating this label. I mean, we've already created the label. We got into doing music licensing, which another thing Bass9 does. We've licensed to shows like MTV, VH1. We've done video games for Sony PlayStation, the Xbox, et cetera, et cetera. And then we thought, well, what's the next thing we can get into? And then I started thinking, oh, man, I really love movies. I want to get into making movies, but I don't know nothing about movies. I don't know nothing about that stuff. So I'm talking to my wife one day. We're chilling in bed, and I'm just like, man, I want to make a movie. You know, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. And then I get to talking to her, and I think, she's like, well, you know, you just got to start. Another friend of mine says, you know, you can do it. You can do it. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I'll try it.
Which is very possible because just growing up with you, I mean, you play the drums, you play the bass, you play the guitar, you play the keys, you produce, you edit, you film, you paint, you do a lot of. What can you do?
But I can't do it good. But I just do it what I can. You know what I'm saying?
You're talented.
So the bottom line is this: moving past all that, so basically the decision was buy a camera and just start. Bought the camera. I said, well, what can I do for the first thing? And I thought of the story of me and Ryan. But I don't want to say that it's me and Ryan. I'll change the names and I'll kind of tweak it a little bit, and we'll just try to make a story out of it, which was a movie called The Parisian Incident, which is a little low budget thing we made for $1,000. We bought a little cheap camera. We made it, and that's what introed into going into making movies.
Okay, wait. Now, The Parisian Incident, didn't it play in a Hollywood Film Festival?
Atlanta, Georgia Film Festival. That was the other one that I'll get to.
And then what was the other one?
And then we made a movie. After that, I thought, well, I got to keep learning how to make films, so I made a movie called Cycle.
So that's good for your first film. You're in a film festival.
Yes, we got into Atlanta, Georgia International Film Festival.
And then the next film?
Then the next film got into the Hollywood Film Festival with Jeff Goldblum, the guy that was in Jurassic Park. We got into his film festival, and that one didn't win or anything, but it still got in and was an official selection. So, being that kind of encouraged me, like, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe, you know, obviously with the Lord, because he gives all creativity, all idea, all everything. We're nothing. We're just like vessels being used by him. I go, God, if you want to go further, let's do this. Let's go further. Boom.
So, what in the heck made you want to start filming for the Whosoever movie? Because around this time, the Whosoever's movement birthed in 2009, and we were just traveling around. We had no game plan. You were there. You saw. We just all were like, okay, we're all saved. We found Jesus. We all came out of crazy lifestyles, and now we just want to tell our stories because we have a platform to let people know who Jesus is and introduce them to Jesus. And that was the whole game plan. I mean, still to date, that's all it is. But you actually came up to me and you were like, hey, dude, we should film and do a documentary or a rockumentary or whatever you want to call it about the Whosoever's movement. Where'd you even get that crazy idea?
This is exactly how it went down. Basically, I saw Ryan get saved, which was totally like a mind-boggling experience because I knew him. I remember he would come home just jacked up. And I remember even seeing him like totally skinny, tweaked one night. I don't know if Ryan remembers this, but he was totally tweaked. I saw him, he looked like a skeleton. I remember grabbing him, by the shirt, and I'm like, what's the matter? Like, what, you're going to overdose, you're going to die. And I grabbed him, it was in mom's bed, remember? And I grabbed him, and I threw you like in the bathtub, and I was like, Ryan, what the heck, are you stupid? Da-da-da. I said some other words that I can't say on this broadcast, so I beep, and da-da-da, beep.
Yes.
Anyway, so we'd said all that stuff, and basically what happened was, when I saw Ryan's life change, I saw a real, true conversion, which I seen him, I've seen other people before. They say they accept the Lord. You kind of see it and you kind of not really see a change. But with Ryan, I saw a complete change and I was freaked out of my brain. So Ryan says, hey, we're going to go to New York and we're going to do this thing with Head and Sonny. And would you like to
It was actually, what happened, it was our first tour.
Yeah, it was the first time they set it up.
Because we actually said, okay, you know what? Now we've already kind of we did some speaking engagements around here, but then we're like, you know what? Let's just go do a United States tour. Let's see who will take us. And it opened up, the doors opened up for the East Coast. I think it was actually.
It was Nathan.
It was Texas. Went to Texas.
Oh, yeah.
And then we flew into the East Coast to Nathan. He embraced us, and we went through New York, Manhattan, Upper New York. We went to New Jersey. And then where else did we go? Did we go to Miami too at that time?
Texas,
or maybe it was just that
Texas,
part for that first one. Yeah.
So going into that, Nathan Robinson back on the East Coast helped set up the thing in the New York thing, and there was other people involved with the other ones, which I have no idea. But long story short, they said, hey, why don't you come and why don't you film? So I said, I got to think, and I thought, well, we should make a movie about this. This could be another thing that for Base 9 that we could do to kind of keep stretching. I'd never made a documentary before. I know nothing about making a documentary. Actually, I was kind of nervous about it because it's when you're filming, anybody out there that knows about filming, it's crazy. You got to be setting irises. You got to be setting lighting levels. There's all these
Audio's
crazy.
a nightmare.
Audio's a nightmare. Yeah. You have all these crazy things. So long story short, I said, you know what? This is a good challenge. It's going to help me get my chops better. Like a musician, if you're going to be a good guitar player, you got to practice your chops. You got to keep practicing. Drums, whatever it's going to take. You got to do all your things. Bass. No, I'm joking. But anyway, so long story short,
and this film, the what we're getting into right now, this one that you're filming, the W365 movie, the inception of the Whosoever's movement, it actually got nominated for 2 awards in the London Film Festival this year.
Yes,
which was Best Producer of the Year and Best Director of the Year.
Yeah. Yep. So best producer, best director.
So God basically, he did his thing through you to
Thank
this
you,
film,
Lord.
through this film, and now you're on the road with us. You're filming. How long did it take to even make this movie? Because it's this is a timepiece that we did.
Yes.
And you were filming in 2009, and now it's 2015.
Oh my gosh.
How long did it
Lord
take,
have
and
mercy.
why did it take? So actually, we're gonna do one question at a time.
Yes.
How come it took so long? Because I know there's a whole story of this.
Yes, we're gonna have to go through this very quick. Okay.
We got some time.
Okay, we have a little bit of time. Okay, here we go. So basically, this is a story. Okay, we went through all kinds of problems. Number one, I'm gonna go through just whatever comes to my head. One of them was a problem with Head's music. Okay. One of the problems we got the whole thing done. We filmed it all. We had like 500 hours. We went through it. We got the film done in about a year and a half. It was all ready to roll. Then Head got in a situation, I don't know the details, but he got in a situation, something with his label regarding his music. And that was probably like, 30% or 40% of the music that we had edited the visual footage to his music. So I was freaking out like, wait a minute, how in the heck are we going to fix this problem? We're going to have to redo everything all over because it was all edited to his music. So, long story short, we had to go in, figure out a way to do it, which we did, and recut music that would match his music exactly in the timing. So let's just say his music is like gong 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 gong. Okay? Yeah. Now we had to take a beat that would match that was not his music and be like whatever. Same tempo and make all the edits so they would edit right. So it was like it'd have to be like, it would have to match it, so we wouldn't have to redo the visual.
By the way, we have Roselle in the studios right now from the East Coast. So it's a basically it's a full-on editing nightmare. You have to redo it. Okay, so that got put on hold. But then there were some other situations that happened, like when every time you were trying to download it to take it in to get it mastered, your whole computer was crashed. It was basically like nightmare after nightmare after nightmare. It was like there was some serious spiritual warfare that was going on with this program. You could tell that. I mean, we believe in the good angels, the good angels, and then we believe in the bad angels, the demons, because we know that there's a war. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities of the darkness of the unseen world. Mm-hmm. We know that there's a war between God and Satan, and this film is all about Jesus leading people to the Lord. Yep. So what's going to happen? Of course, the electronics are going to crash. Of course, there's going to be other things going on. It was a complete nightmare.
We had the computer crash like 3 or 4 times where it would not work. The Apple people were freaking out, like, we don't know, we've never seen these problems before. We don't know why stuff would happen like this.
So my question to you is, now what separates this documentary from the other documentaries? Why would anyone come? Obviously, I'm part of the movement, so I want to tell everyone to come see it. You know, you actually produced it, but why should people come? What are they going to see in this that they don't see through social media, that they don't see through videos that they've seen online? There's thousands of videos of Head. There's thousands of videos of Sonny. All the different guys, Ronnie Feist, Brian Deegan, Lacey Sturm. Who else is in there? Annie Lobert. Yes. There's all these videos all over online. What is the difference between this documentary of the movement versus what people can Google and watch?
Okay. First of all, you're going to see stuff that, when a lot of times when people make Christian films, there's a certain line that you have, a certain parameters that you have to stay in to have it so it will sell in the Christian industry. Then you have secular films, which basically you can go bananas, go whatever, say F words and do whatever you want. Our problem is with this, our problem and our amazing thing about this film was that it was right in the middle. The thing is, when we filmed it, everybody was raw. Ryan had just become a Christian. Sonny obviously had just been going through a crazy thing with his band POD. Head had just left Korn. I don't really know too much about Ronnie Feist and Brian.
Those guys were actually just getting. Those guys just became Christians as well.
There you go.
And they were trying to get on the right track.
Exactly. So you have all these people. Oh, and Lacey, I think.
Lacey was touring with Flyleaf.
She was towards the end of Flyleaf, though, right?
That's right before she got pregnant. So yeah, during that time when the Whosoever's launched, she was actually on tour with Flyleaf. That's when they were blowing up.
Oh, okay.
During that time, okay, they were traveling all over the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the situation is this: when we were filming them, everything was totally raw. Raw meaning their speech wasn't eloquent. Their speech wasn't watched. They weren't watching their speech of trying to think, okay, we're making a documentary. This is going to go out to the Christian community as well as the secular. We need to watch what we're saying. Like, oh, let's do another take of that. I said, oh, this guy's a whatever, or this is this or that, whatever. I don't know. I can't think of an example right now. But long story short, so Ryan and they were talking real raw. So in this footage, you see raw stuff. Like Ryan, I think in one thing he did say one bad word. It's not a real bad word, but he did say one. But his intent was amazing, but the word was bad.
Well, yeah, we were all fresh.
We
were going. But what's rad about this film is we were actually going out and wherever we were speaking, we were inviting people to come to the Lord. And dude, there was those are probably some of the biggest altar calls I've seen. Everywhere we would go, it'd be almost 80 to 90% of the place would literally come forward. It was like the Holy Spirit just dropping on people. And this is another rad thing too, is I would say the people are going to see more of the behind the scenes of stuff that no one would ever
see.
No one would ever see, right?
And Head has content in there that has never been said before about his personal life.
Yeah.
And Ryan also, and Sonny, some of these different guys, there's content that has never, ever been put in the public because when it's done in Christian films, they edit it out. And I don't know if they've ever done any of this. They've never done any of this talking to any secular films.
It's really, yeah.
So it's unique.
I think it's really where everyone was very, and even today, everyone's very transparent. But you're actually, because you're obviously my brother and you're friends with everyone else, that you got to be, you're in there in the hotel rooms with people. You're basically showing. Everyone sees from far what the movement is.
Yep.
But you're actually showing in this documentary what's really happening in the background.
Yes.
Everyone's joking around. Everyone's a bunch of clowns, but everyone's serious about God and trying to make a difference in this world. So it's more of like the whole backstory of what's going on with the movement, and you're just kind of.
It's the beginning. Yeah, the movie basically is, just to sum it up. The movie is it's called W365. W stands for the Whosoever's. 365 is 1 year. The film, the first year of these guys all coming together. That is what the film is about, and we kept it as raw as possible and real.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty sick because, I mean, even like when you hear about POD and these guys, it's like they're too Christian for the world, but they're not Christian enough or they're too Christian for the world, but they're not Christian enough for the church.
And that could be our problem.
And
with this film.
that's exactly the deal with the movement.
Yep.
It's right. It's the Whosoever's movie it's right in the middle.
It's right in the middle.
It's not actually produced by a church. It's just all these individuals coming together from all different walks of life that found God, and they're hell-bent about bringing people to Jesus Christ, which is just recklessly determined to do whatever it takes.
Yep.
And it's messy. The Whosoever's movement is very messy, just like the Jesus ministry.
Yep.
He's hanging out with the tax collectors. They're drinking wine. He shows up to a party. They're out of wine. He makes wine. I mean, who is this guy, Jesus? Then he's like healing, raising the dead. He's healing the blind. He's casting out demons. He's hanging out with this motley crew of dudes. I mean, it was a rugged ministry. I mean, those guys would roll into Jerusalem, into the city, and they've been sleeping at the Galilee, out in the desert. I mean, they look like a rugged group of people. So, it's. When you really think about the Jesus ministry, it was very raw. I mean, Jesus was remember he was hanging out with the woman by the well, and the disciples rolled up and they're like, why is he hanging out with the Samaritan chick by the well by himself? But they were scared. They didn't want to say anything.
Yep.
I mean, Jesus' ministry was pretty out there, and that's what he came for.
And I want to say this as an encouragement to everybody listening tonight. Remember, Jesus picked people that weren't special. Imagine this: if you were in the modern day time and I was Jesus, it'd be like me getting somebody, some worker that's in the back room cleaning up the floor in McDonald's, or somebody working at Coco's, or somebody working in the back station in the gas station. Just
a fisherman.
Putting on new tires. He didn't go, oh, okay, I got to go get. Well, this is a Christian radio station, so I'll use U2 as a thing because I know everybody out there listens to U2. He didn't go pick Bono. He didn't go pick Brad Pitt. He picked the guy that was scrubbing toilets and the small dudes. Basically, we're all nobodies. We're all scumbags. The thing is, we're just lucky if we're getting used. I mean, that's the bottom line. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know. You're right. I mean, when you think about, before we go on, because we're going to go a break in about a minute, but before we go on, let's just hit about this, who Jesus used. He just used like the construction worker, or the guy that's just changing the tires, or the guy working at McDonald's. He wasn't going out for the scholars, he wasn't. I mean, think about all the disciples, his first group of disciples he picked. He didn't go down to the colleges or the Bible Institute. Oh, let's get these guys,
It'd be like nowadays, like a mafia guy like me. I'm picking Limping Larry, Charlie, One-Eyed Charlie.
One-Eyed Charlie. Hey, but you know what? The thing is, though, a lot of people, though, they think they have to be this gnarly Bible scholar, or that they have to be fully immersed in the church, or whatever they're thinking in their head that they could be used. But God can use anyone. I mean, I don't even have a education. I have a poor reading level, and all I do is I read through the Bible and I burn through Chuck Smith CDs, and now God has enabled me to teach. It's the work of the Spirit that we're able to do this stuff.
I have no education. I call education education.
That's true, and you probably can't even spell it.
Yeah, and I can't even spell it.
So, hey, going on, what difficulties did you have making this movie? Was there any? Oh, we're going to break right now. This is Live with Ryan Ries. We'll be back in 2 minutes. I got Shane Ries from Bass9 Studio.
More Live with Ryan Ries coming up.
Is everything all right?
Call now 1-888-564-6173 or post your questions using the hashtag #LiveRyanReese on his Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook.
I think I speak for the entire administration when I say whoop-de-doo.
Now, back to Live with Ryan Ries. Don't say we didn't warn you. Loud noises!
We are back. I'm Ryan Ries, and if you just tuned in, I have Shane Ries, the producer of the 365 movie. We are actually having the movie premiere for this movie. It's the inception of the Whosoever movement, talking about shows the background of the movement, the behind the scenes, showing what the dudes are actually really all about. And it shows us touring and everything. And the premiere that we're going to have is at the Grove Theater on May 3rd at 7 p.m. in Anaheim. So, Shane, as we were talking, you were just kind of talking about the back end, how, there was a lot of drama that went through as you were trying to produce this thing, a lot of technical difficulties. Can you tell us, you were traveling with Head, with Sonny. You've traveled with Lacey, myself. We were touring the United States. You went out of the country with POD to Argentina. How was that? Like, what was the whole deal when you guys left to Argentina? Where'd you guys go? Was it just Argentina?
Yeah, it was Buenos Aires, and it was on their South American tour. They were going to Brazil and all that after, but I just went to Argentina only.
So how was it? You flew out there by yourself, and you met up with everyone. What did you guys do? I saw some pictures. Was that when Sonny went to some high schools too, or was that just strictly concerts?
Yes, no. Sonny, they had set up. There was the promoter there that was booking. It was like kind of like in a small, I want to say like a tennis stadium. It wasn't like a football stadium or thing. It was like a tennis stadium, but it was still big, and the promoter had booked Sonny to go talk at some high schools and all that stuff, which was
he was going to the high schools. How was that?
Oh, it was amazing because it was crazy. They had like a translator, and he would talk, and he would just tell the people, hey, like just kind of share real simple, like, I love the Lord. And one thing I want to say as just a side note with Sonny is that it's crazy. Sonny's very soft spoken. He's not real I don't know. I guess because I'm real animated. I kind of like I kind of see things like a movie, and Sonny's more like real calm, and I like drama. So I'm kind of like, as he's talking, a lot of times I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to figure out what I can take from this, what I can't, because a lot of times he's just a very mellow guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm coming across right.
Yeah. He no, because
it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, no, he's kind of Beyonce. He's shy.
Yeah, he's
but
shy.
He's like when he goes on the stage, it's like releasing the pit bull out of the cage.
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game.
And then he's just more like chill and relax and whatever. So he's out there, he's speaking to high schools. I've seen some photos of that stuff. and then they're going to concerts at night. Was there any like cool stories? Is that when the tech like flew off the stage and like broke his leg or something?
No, that was
that Brazil?
two days later in Brazil.
That was a whole crazy situation.
That Argentina, there wasn't too much craziness. It was more of just following these guys filming. I'm trying to think of something that was. Oh, I'll tell you something crazy. This is crazy. During the filming of this movie, we had right when the movie was done, we had 2 people actually die or pass away in the film. Two of them, both of them are in them. One's a guy named Maddie Mex, and he was a very good friend of Sonny's and Head's. And he was like a promoter type of guy. He would,
networker, like he knew.
Yeah,
he
networker
knew
guy.
Everybody in New York. I mean, he's just the connection guy.
The full
to
connection
everything.
guy, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because the crazy story that happened with him is I got introduced to him with these guys in the New York thing. Sonny introduced me to him and said, "Hey, this is the guy." And Maddie's Jewish, and I have a lot. I have homie Jewish friends. I love Jewish people. I love Arabic people too. I love all types of people. Anyway, skipping through that, not getting so technical. What happened was I became good friends with this guy. I had to go back to New York with my friend Dave Arroyo, which you guys know from Whosoever's.
But Maddie Mex went on tour with us when we were out there for the tour in New York. Maddie Mex was taking us out around New York as well.
Yes,
that was the first time.
Yes. So I got to know Maddie Mex. I had to go back again, and I started talking to this guy about the Lord. He wasn't saved. He was Jewish, so he didn't really want to, he wanted to just follow the Jewish way, which is the Old Testament. And I just kept talking to him. Anyway, long story short, he ends up becoming a Christian. And he even proved it by eating a piece of bacon, which was pretty amazing.
We were on tour when he did it.
They were there when he did it. He accepted the Lord.
He's like, I found Jesus, look. And he goes, let me get a double cheeseburger with extra bacon.
No, remember he goes, we were all asking him, how do we know he's really a Christian? And Head goes, I want to prove it right now, Maddie. You got to eat a piece of bacon. So they got the bacon, and he ate, and he's like, what the heck? But, which, as you know, that's not kosher. For those of you that don't know about the Jewish way, it's not kosher.
Bacon. Anyway,
so long story short, he became a Christian. But then going down the line, we don't know what happened. We kept talking to him. We don't really know how he kind of went. We don't know what happened to him. But anyway, it turns out we just found out he died in his apartment. Nobody knows why he died. He died at 45, I believe.
Yeah, so that he was also in the film. It's crazy. And then there was even Frank Pastore, one of our good friends.
Yep.
He's also in the movie, and he passed away too. He was, when he was on his motorcycle. We actually have a thing in the movie about that whole thing.
And those of you that don't know who Frank Pastore is,
Frank Pastore. He's he's like the big radio host out of L.A. He used to host KKLA, the radio show, and then he passed away. One of our good friends. He's the first guy that actually had me come on the radio. I was talking about that in the first show, but I owe a lot to him. But it's rad because I get to we'll see him in heaven, when we get to heaven. And
exactly.
I know, you know what, even like with the whole Maddie Mex thing, people go through crazy things in life, and we don't know where everyone stands with God, but we know that there's so much grace and mercy.
Yep.
Because there's people that do commit suicide, and there's people that OD, and there's people that go through these different things, and we know clearly what the Bible says. If you're abiding in Christ, you're good, but we don't know where people are at in those last moments.
Exactly.
Or why people even do these things. And you know what? Just even talking about that, that this whole movie, this movie is not about. It's not about the whosoever's or these guys. It's about these guys that found Jesus Christ that are trying to help people that are dealing with drugs and alcohol, suicidal thoughts, depression, making money and being famous, having it all and not wanting God or having nothing. Or just even there's just common people. Melanie, she's a hairdresser. She's in the movie. Lacey, Nathan, Maddie Mex. You have just all these whosoever's, which the whosoever's just the anybody's. You have all these anybody's together just on a mission following Jesus. Like if I could visualize a picture of Jesus walking through the land with Mary and Martha and all the disciples, I could picture it's like the whosoever's. They're just cruising, and that's what we were doing. We couldn't see Jesus because we live not by sight, but we live by faith, but not by sight. So we're just walking. This movie's just all these dudes walking together in this movie, and God just doing all these things. And the stories is to reach people that are dealing with this stuff. Exactly. And maybe you're here listening on TV. Maybe you're driving. you're somewhere in the LA area, maybe you're in Las Vegas, maybe you're in San Diego, or maybe you're tuning online, Vietnam or the UK or Afghanistan.
Brazil.
We have dude, I think there's like 90 something countries that tune into this, and maybe you're going through something like that, and you're like, man, I'm hearing these guys, I'm listening to what they're putting down. How do I overcome this? And the way you overcome is that, first of all, you got to just give your life to Christ. And maybe you're asking, well, dude, how in the heck do I become a whosoever? How do I do that? It's very easy. You just ask Jesus Christ to come into your life. I don't care if you're driving right now, if you're watching this on your phone or you're at home. You just say, Jesus, come into my life, forgive me for my sins, and reveal who you are and show me how to walk with you. And it's that simple, and God will send his Holy Spirit, and he'll start walking with you. And you're not going to be perfect. You know, you're probably going to be very rough around the edges like the rest of us, but God is the one that gets us like you get a fish. When you catch a fish, you cut the belly and you gut it. God will start gutting it and pulling out the dirty stuff out of us. I'm not saying gut us, but literally pulling all that garbage out of our lives, God, out of our lives. And in Matthew, Jesus says, all of you guys that are hungry or thirsty that want me, asking, you will receive torrents of living water. And when you get torrents of living water, that Holy Spirit coming down from heaven, the torrents will just wash you and just push out that garbage out of your life. And it's an ongoing process. And if you just tuned in right now, we're going to be taking some calls in a few minutes. This is Live with Ryan Ries. And I have Shane Ries, the producer and director of the 365. The number is 888-564-6173. Again, the number is 888-564-6173. You can call in. We're going to be taking calls about the movie. If you have any questions about the back end of the movie, or maybe, I don't know, maybe you are struggling with drugs or alcohol or suicide or depression. I mean, my brother here, he's been dealing with depression for many years, and he could speak in your life. Again, that number is 888-564-6173. So what else, Shane, should people be looking for in this movie? They're going to get the back end. They're going to see the highs and the lows of these guys. They're going to hear stuff that has never been released on anywhere online or any social media stuff.
Man, honestly, I just have blanked out right now.
And
I'm just totally joking. No, but seriously, you guys, I want to add one more thing. Why I'm a little I've turned to the side a little bit, hearing what Ryan just said. I just want to add one more little thing that
add more. Whatever.
Yeah, I just want to add one more little thing. It kind of threw me for a loop right there for a second listening to him. But it's not. You can't change yourself. A lot of people out there thinking, what can I do to make my life better? Or I can't do it because I'm hooked to this or I'm hooked to that or whatever. You got to just come out and just say, you know what, God, I'm all jacked up and I can't change my life. I need you to do it for me. And you're gonna struggle. You might struggle months, years, 2 years, 10 years, but you have to just go by faith and follow God by faith. I just want to add that.
People think, Shane, that a lot of people think they're going to find Jesus and everything is just going to
go
be
away.
Great
exactly.
Overnight.
No, your life's going to get worse. No, you will. I'm telling you this in this situation.
Tell me.
Not worse meaning because you have God, your life is worth, but it's going to get worse because the devil, he does not want you to have God. So what is he going to do if you want God? He's going to come against you harder and your life's going to get more crazier. But you know what? I'm going to tell you something. The end result is heaven, number one, and the end result is you got somebody you can go to because you don't got nobody now. I don't care who the heck you talk to. You can talk to your dad, your mom, your brother, your best friend. People will fail you. I don't care who in the heck it is, your best friend, your family member. I don't give a dang who you think is going to help you. Nobody can help you. When you're in your low times and your no times and your down times and your black times, no one's going to help you except for God. You can call out to him. And when you read the Bible, he will talk you through that book. Believe me, trust me.
A lot of people like to, during these times, well, first of all, I'm going to break down why you say it's going to get worse, because the devil's going to come against you. Because those things that you're trying to stop, when you're like, okay, God, I'm going to follow you, but this porn problem, I don't want to go back to this porn, or maybe I'm sleeping with my girlfriend, or maybe I'm smoking weed like crazy, or whatever it be, anger problem, or all these things. And you're like, okay, God, I want to surrender these things to you and I want to follow you. He's going to increase Satan's going to increase all that stuff and throw it
10
in your
times
face
more
to get you distracted. That's why it's going to get worse. But the thing is as we deny ourselves, as we pick up our cross and follow Jesus, as we start putting to death those things,
Yep.
the Holy Spirit will start working heavier in our life and we'll get more power in our life. And the more you kill your flesh, the less it has a control of you. It's just like those gangsters or those cholos that get the dogs, the pit bulls. They train them, right? So you have one guy that has the pit bull on the treadmill, and he's feeding them steak and meat and chicken and rice and all these things, and get him on the treadmill. He's getting that thing all ready to attack and just be all burly. Then you got this other pit bull that the other trainer, if he only just feeds it water and has to sit in its cage all day, what happens when you put both those in the ring to kill each other, which is illegal, by the way, so don't do this at home.
Yep.
Which one's going to kill the other one? The one that you're feeding the most, right?
Yep.
So in the same way, our flesh, if we're feeding our flesh, if we're just diving into the things of the world, that's going to dominate our spirit light. But if we are pouring into the Spirit and living by the Spirit, and we're not feeding our fleshly appetites or our body appetites, the Spirit is going to dominate. And that's all summed up in Romans 8:13. It says, if ye live after the flesh, ye shall die. But if ye live after the Spirit and do mortify the deeds of the flesh, ye shall live.
Yep.
And that word mortify, and I love that's my favorite verse. Mortify means to self-inflict pain. You kill it. And then God will start working, and you won't have to deal with all that stuff that used to take you down. God will start taking those things away daily.
Yeah. So in that respect, your life is going to, let's put it this way. Your life is going to be it's almost like this. Your quality of life is going to become way better, because when you're in the world, Satan doesn't hit you as hard with certain things because he wants to keep you there. So you think, oh, my life's good. I had a great girlfriend. I got this going on. I got my little weed pipe, or I got my this and that. Everything is all kosher. Everything is good. But really, when you're alone at night and you're laying in your bed and no one's around you and you're just thinking to yourself, that's when the emptiness and the void, and that's when you're feeling everything. Why do you think people are Instagramming, Facebooking, computers? All this stuff's a distraction to keep your mind away from thinking on God. When you have God and you take away all that junk and you're just thinking, like I do that. I'm just thinking about God. I'm just praying to him. I'm like, you know what, Lord, man, life is tough, man. This stuff sucks, dude. All this stuff. I got all these things I'm dealing with, but I got someone to talk to, someone to turn to. So I just want to leave it at that.
Yep. All that stuff, dude, all that social media and all that stuff's all noise. It's the biggest distraction. Our new campaign for the high school doers is called Kill the Noise.
Yeah.
Because our message we want to tell these kids is like, you guys are so caught up in all this noise, you don't even know who you are or what God's created you for. How can you hear God's voice if you're caught up in all these distractions, people that just live on their phones? It's crazy. So kill the noise. We're going to be taking Angela from Palm Desert. Angela, how you doing? What is your question?
Hi.
Hello, how you doing, Angela?
Me?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it is so awesome to talk to you guys. God bless you.
God bless
you too.
So I have a question. I was looking up some stuff on the Whosoevers tonight, and I was on YouTube, and I saw this video that was like the Whosoevers exposed, and I'm sure that you guys have heard about that before.
Oh man, yeah.
They were talking about like Melissa Leslie's art, like I love her art, and they were talking about the Vatican Gallery, and that there's all this Illuminati symbolism and all the satanic stuff, and so I just wanted to know what you guys had to say about that, and what you thought about it.
No problem. We've that's been happening for 9 years. Someone always starts reading stuff on the internet and then puts a video together. And I saw this amazing photo a while ago. It's the Willy Wonka guy from the Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory, and he's like sitting there looking, smiling, and the text says, "You heard it on the internet. It must be true."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the best text. I'm going to actually put that on my social media tonight for people that are listening and can see that. But no, more seriously, no, that's a rad question because, if you dig in, you could find videos about Billy Graham, Greg Laurie, the Illuminati. It's just gnarly. The bottom line is we are a movement of whosoevers that have found Christ. And you know what? We have people that are not Christians that actually wear our product. It's a movement of saints and sinners. We're leading them to the Lord. It's a messy ministry. But as far as like the Vatican studio and that stuff, that was an art show that we actually went to. And we took pictures and post pictures of an art show we went to, showing how crazy what's really going on and out in culture. And then somehow it got turned around that it was like our art show or something, which we were just there shooting photos. So, and then Melissa, she has a crazy story. She came out of a crazy background where she was actually having a lot of demons and stuff coming to her room and messing with her and stuff. So she actually does art in mainstream photo galleries around the world, and she uses this art because people always ask her, well, what does this mean? And she starts telling people about her past life with drugs and alcohol, which got her into this darkness of how she got saved. So it's all tools of how to, where God's using people in different culture. But
right, I just see a lot of judgment from these people because they're talking a lot about like Brian Head Welch and stuff, and they're talking about his appearance and that this demonic appearance and
I got a question.
Not edifying and stuff.
I got a question for you. If the whole Bible constantly teaches about the inside, the heart, why in the heck are we Christians looking at the outside?
Amen.
Like the Bible teaches, it's Jesus through the whole New Testament was telling these Pharisees, I'm coming for your heart. It's a heart issue. I don't want your sacrifices. It's your heart. But the church bubble, Christianity, we get caught up on this whole outward, these tattoos and the eyeliner and long hair. Someone posted, why does Ryan have long hair on my I Am Second? And I'm like, this guy just heard a story about me finding Jesus Christ coming out of drugs and alcohol. And this guy's worried about my hair. I want to slap the guy,
Right.
And
I don't want to slap the guy, just for the record. But you know what I'm saying? It's embarrassing.
I want to tell her two things, too, that's real important. Remember this. Art is subjectional. So I can look at the same painting that 10 other people will look at, and everyone's going to see something different, number one. Number two, these rock stars and all that, it's all about image. And the thing is, that doesn't mean that, if he comes out with long hair and he's got tattoos, that doesn't mean that in his heart he's a certain way. He's in that whole industry. It's like the way musicians carry themselves, the way actors carry themselves. There's certain things that are for certain industries. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Well, and that's the thing too, is that, I am a fairly new believer, and I'm, covered in tattoos, grew up punk rock, whatever.
Yes.
I would have never come to Christ. Like, everybody that I knew that was a Christian was very stereotypical.
Yep.
And it really was. There was so much of a change in my heart when I was seeing people that looked like me and liked the same music as I did, liked the same art, and they were like, yeah, I love Jesus. Like, that made a huge impact on my life, and I really feel like that's what you guys are doing. And I kind of dug in a little bit and saw this huge backlash of like, wow, there's some really judgmental people that are really coming down, and they're looking at it from, the perspective of this, there's like this religiosity to it. And I'm like, I don't know. I just see like the whosoever movement as, even I'm 32 years old. I'm a mom. And I was able to like, watch Ryan's I Am Second video and be like, okay, like that's someone I can identify with. That's a testimony that I identify with.
And that's
seeing Melissa's art. I love her art. I'm an artist as well. And
nice.
I could see like, oh my gosh. And the thing is that art's subjective. And so you can look at her stuff and go, oh, it's demonic, but she's portraying her walk. She's portraying like her past and her future and everything
Angela,
else.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off, but we have a couple more calls we have to take. But back to what you're saying, that's what the movement was created for. For some reason, the church bubble is pushing out, you got to look a certain way, you got to listen to, certain worship music. And you can only, if you do art, you got to draw crosses or pictures of Jesus. It's this whole church, this false reality of it's just fake. It's not real, and it doesn't teach anything in the Bible about that. Jesus is all about the heart, and the movement. What we're doing, it's a movement of musicians, of artists, of skateboarders, of freestyle motocross. It's all these different people that are Christians that are shining their light in the dark world. Jesus says, I'm not trying to take them out of the world, Father. I'm praying that you be with them as they're in the world, because he gave us the Great Commission to go out and reach people for Christ. Now, for some reason, people think you need to cut your hair, you need to get rid of your tattoos and wear Dockers and do a comb over with a big Bible with an out of this world t-shirt or something. I don't know what it is, but it's all fake and false. Follow Jesus, get real with God. He'll get real with you. And God wants to use you in your art right where you're at. And, he loves you. He loves hookers. He loves strippers. He loves people with tattoos. He loves porn stars. He loves drug addicts.
People.
He loves homosexuals. God loves everyone. The whole thing is he wants to come in and transform you and break the bondage, the sin that's in your life. He's a holy God. He doesn't want the sin in your life. He wants to help you remove that, but he loves you. John 3:16 said, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. God didn't come into the world to judge the world. He came in to save. He sent the son because he loved us the way we are. And as we have this relationship with him, God will start coming in to our life, manifesting and revealing to us what we got to get rid of. So if you're drinking and smoking, he's going to show you, hey, dude, you don't need that no more. If you're sleeping with men and you're a man, he's going to show you that that's not right. He's the one that will lead us and guide us into all truth as long as we worship him in spirit and in truth. He shows us. But for some reason, when people come into the church, I always make a joke of like on stage when I'll be saying, so this girl comes in, she has long blonde hair. Here she has her, I don't even know how to say this on radio, but her breasts or whatever are like smashed together. She has high heels and short Daisy Dukes. She comes in and all the women are looking at her going, oh my gosh, can you believe this girl's in church? The way she looks, look at how everything's hanging out. And I'm thinking, dude, that girl was probably swinging on a brass pole last night in a strip club, and now she got invited to church, and now we have all these people in church judging her, looking at her when this is her first time. We don't know where people are at, you guys. And I want to end it here, you guys. Yeah. God is looking at the heart. He loves you guys. He wants to clean you up, but you got to come to him. You got to deny yourself, pick up your cross, and follow him. For you guys that are still tuned in, this is the deal. The world release premiere party for the Whosoever's 365 is at the Grove in Anaheim on May 3rd at 7 p.m. Doors open at 6:30. You can register at thewhosoevers.com. Limited tickets left. Come and be a part of the movement. The food will also be available for purchase at the event or at thewhosoevers.com on May 5th. Next week, we're going to be talking about relationships. We got some girls coming in, Sonia Gonzalez and Lauren O'Neill, and we're going to have a special guest. My wife's going to come in. We're going to talk about dating and relationships May 28th. We love you. Any last words, Shane? How can people find you? Base9.com.
Go to base9.com. We have another film coming out, Abraham's Desert, which is about, you can see it. Just go to abrahamsdesert.com, base9.com, and we're also going to be working on my dad's film, which is a story about his life. It's a remake. It's going to be completely different. Check that out.
All right.
Rise from Darkness.
We love you guys. We'll see you next week.
This has been Live with Ryan Ries. To connect or find out more about Ryan, click on ryan-reese.com. Check us out next Saturday at 9 p.m. for Live with Ryan Ries.